Take care. Link, share the link, and you have to make it from there so what she's speaking can be heard. And share this link. This.
Should we start?
2 minutes.
So Sam, do you own Starbucks or what?
I'd be on a beach somewhere.
That's not
And ironically, I prefer a Costa, it has to be said. No. Before Starbucks chain was massive, I don't know if you remember, there was a program called Battlestar Galactica many years ago, and there was a character in there called Starbuck. So before Starbucks coffee, I used to get my leg pulled about my surname, and there we go.
Hi Samantha, how are you?
Hello. I'm very well, thanks. How are you?
Can raise.
Yeah, good to see you.
Facebook पे हमारे पेज पे share. How's everything?
Thank you. Good, busy. You?
Yeah, very busy. Today I want to introduce that we Ahmedabad Library Chartered Account feel pride to introduce Ms. Samanthia over here to give you a lecture about the pathways to the membership for ICAEW. I already have done that one. Now I am a proud member of ICAEW. So I love to see my other ICAEW members and other professionals to get these pathways, and there are so many benefits. And it's not very hard as being a professional. Only you have to go and you have to just write on paper your knowledge and skills which you have done, and it's a pretty easy way, and it emphasizes only on your skills, what you have done in your past career, and the rest to Ms. Samanthia. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for the invite this evening, and thank you for taking time out to come along and listen. So yes, we'll discuss pathways. Pathways workshop, so I won't do all of the talking because it's a bit of a workshop, so we'll get you looking at a few things. But what I will run through this evening is who is the route into membership for, what you have to do to apply, what is the examination of experience, because that's what will get assessed to be able to invite for you to pass and be invited into membership. Some hints and tips on best practice and general approach to answering the examination of experience. We'll take a look at each question. I think that's where I'll let you gentlemen maybe have some discussion and thought on how you might go about approaching that, if that's something that you choose to do. And then I'll just recap and can give you some contact information on if there's anything else you'd like to find out. So you can contact myself, or ICAEW office is based in DIFC. But we do have a Pathways team in the UK, and they're experts in this. So. Okay. So who is the route for? So it is for members of, not all accountancy bodies, but ICAEW is certainly one, ACCA, ACAI, and there are a few others. But you need to have been a full member for 5 years. So as long as we're 5 years, and that's 5 years paid membership, We have seen applications fall down where somebody may have been a member for 5 years, but let's say they haven't paid for a year, haven't paid their fees, which means then they wouldn't be CPD compliant, they wouldn't be under the governance, so we do need 5 years of full membership. That membership is gained through the normal routes, so no reciprocal arrangements, so again that's quite the norm. No naughty people are allowed in, so good disciplinary record, which I'm sure we have a gleaming record this evening. You comply with your CPD records for your current body. We must get a letter of good standing from your current professional body. Now, if this is something that you are interested in doing, I would stress that I would get onto that ASAP. It can sometimes take quite a while to get this letter of good standing, and we need that when we submit your application. We'll talk through how you submit that this evening as well. But our next submission date is the 31st of January next year. So these letters can take a little bit of time to come through. I know the ICAEW can. So these letters can take a little bit of time to come through. I know the ICAEW can take quite a few weeks. And your letter of good standing must be dated within 3 months of that application date. So anything after the 1st of November would be super for our submission on the 31st of January. And we also need to have a suitable sponsor, so I will come on to that now. I think if you have any questions along the way, please let me know.
So you said that is from the professional body or from the government?
No, this is from your professional body, so you do the letter of good standing from them. There are, I hope you don't mind me sitting, I just wanted to sort of flick between screens. So these are the current bodies. So again, I think we're mainly, so you can see there, the list of the bodies that are eligible. Again, 5 years qualified. And for our letter of good standing, and again, everything's on the website, but I just thought if I perhaps point you to areas of the website, because there's a lot there, and we can all get put off by the volume of information when we're all incredibly busy. But the letter of good standing, sorry, let me just click on this to show you. Just again, and the website is icaew.com/pathways. Everything's there. But your letter of good standing, if you can, like I say, if this is something you want to do, you want to obtain, we do need all of these criteria answering within that letter. So it's just that you are a member, the year you became a member, again, you complied with CPD, no disciplinaries, and then no reason you shouldn't be admitted into membership. So again, it's all available on the website, but you need that with your submission.
Shall we send this kind of a text to our institutes, or
Yes.
they will do it?
No, I would send it, to be honest. Because we need all of that information, so it's probably worth letting them know at the start. And so, if we are applying for the Pathways into membership, we need a sponsor. So there are 6 criteria that our sponsor needs to meet as well as we do as an applicant. So the sponsor must know you. We're assuming it will be in a work capacity, because the sponsor will need to look at your examination of experience and say that they know that to be true and accurate. So they'll know you in a work capacity. They will be a qualified member as well from a membership from the International Federation of Accountants. Again, membership gained through a normal education, no reciprocal arrangements, again, all quite the norm. Again, good disciplinary record, adheres to CPD, and they must have a letter of good standing as well with the submission. So it's all the criteria that we just showed you. If your sponsor is an ICAEW member already, we don't need that letter because we know all about them. But when it comes to submitting your application, everything's done online. We still need to upload something. The system is designed that if there's a gap, it doesn't like it. So if our sponsor is an ICAEW member, we just upload a Word document to say, Mr. So-and-so, the applicant for this Pathways membership, I am going to be their sponsor. Here is my ICAEW membership number, and upload that. That's fine. Okay. Great. So there are it's a 2-stage process. So we can't just, if we decided tomorrow that we're going to make a start on our application, we can't do that. We have to register our interest first of all. So if you have an existing relationship with us in any way, so Salman, for example, you have a student, you've got an ICAEW record number already, you'll just log onto the website, click through and let us know if you're of interest again. I can show you this on the website. So, start your application. So again, icaew.com/pathways, and we will just click through. So if we have a record number already, so somebody might be a member of one of our faculties, they might be linked to ICAEW training in some way, could be one of our counsellors or the qualified person that looks after training, or such as Salman, he has an existing record with us. We'd literally come on in there and register for Pathways. If we have no previous link to ICAEW, we're new and we just register there. This takes 24 hours. The Pathways submission area of the website is something different to this. It will take 24 hours for the two places to talk to one another. So if this is something you want to do again, please register first. We'll acknowledge all of that, and then you'll be able to link through to the Pathways area of the website to access the template to complete your, or work on your examination experience. Okay. Everything is submitted online. I know I've not been very rainforest friendly this evening by bringing some information along. We've been a bit of a workshop again. I just wanted to make you familiar with the documents, so that I think if you do choose to come through to Pathways, you will have had sight of them, so you'll know what we're doing. But everything is submitted online by the deadline date, which is the 31st of January next year, 4 p.m. UK time. We would recommend, if possible, not leaving it till the last day, because we can see a lot of traffic come through, can clog everything up. So if you wanted to make a start, you can upload the document. It doesn't all have to be done, you know, we would positively recommend you don't try and do it in one sitting. You know, take a break, because some of the questions are quite similar, but we're looking for you to demonstrate different skills. But everything needs to be uploaded, and the second you send, everything's online. So it's quite a simple platform really to navigate and use.
And that can be done over the period of time leading until 31st January.
Okay, yeah. So then, what do you have to do to apply? So we answer questions in what we call our examination of experience, and we're only referring to the last 5 years of experience. So please, anything before that, don't make any reference to, because we will ask you to show us your last 5 years of work experience as well, and you'll be tying your examples to your questions in to your work experience. So only the last 5 years will be looked at. The examiners are assessing at a very high level your most recent 5 years. Your sponsor will read through your examination of experience and say that it's all true and accurate as far as they know. You probably won't need to apply for a practicing certificate unless any of your clients are in the UK. No, we need not worry about that then. You'll submit the examination of experience with 2 letters of good standing, if needs be, so one for the sponsor, one for yourself, all online. And upon submission, so 31st of January, you will pay the exam fee, non-refundable, of £260. That's what our case study exam costs, and the examiners that assess the case study are the examiners that will assess your examination of experience. So just a little bit of housekeeping.
Just one small question.
Sure.
Like you said, that all the questions are not answering. But what if the question is, nothing basically I came across during my 5 years with, and then, so how that we...
I think that would be very unlikely, because we're asking you to assess your skills, your technical, your numeracy, your accuracy, technical skills that you use to identify issues, right through to ethical issues. So you will have been exposed to it. It's just a case of demonstrating again how you've. It's all about how, not what. It's how you address those skills.
So basically, just for example, I never came across such situation. But can I, if I demonstrate that, if I were, for example, then I would have not taken these kind of steps. towards the resolution of this situation, or will that be enough?
Yeah, sorry, I don't know if you saw, but if I can just making sure everybody's got, we'll refer to these a little later on. So these are the questions. Again, this will all be online. We've got a template of how to answer. And then, oh, sorry, they're not, these are, yeah, they're here, sorry. Yeah, and then basically your Bible there's examiner guidance. And we'll cross-reference that. And if you take the advice from this, we see a much higher pass rate. So they're the questions. So again, it's not task specific, if you like. It's experience specific. So I'm sure I'd be very surprised if you couldn't give an example of that. Okay.
So basically, I think update that pathway template remotely and then basically copy paste online on the same format.
Yes.
So that basically it can be well made and prepared and.
Yeah, absolutely. Work away on Word or something like that, and save it all, and then when it comes to submit it, yeah. That would I'd recommend that if you our best practice advice would be maybe to attempt the examination of experience, maybe over a couple of weekends. Again, take a break, just because the questions are quite similar. Recommendation is not to use the same example twice per question, even though you might have. So the question, they are quite similar, but we're looking at drawing the how in different skills out. So it's good to take a break, because it's quite normal, though we might get a tad repetitious. So because of perhaps doing that, I would recommend that you perhaps work in a Word document, save your answers, and then just paste them all in one go to submit everything on the application date.
So when we are done with the registration, so at that time we'll get the question which we need to answer, or we need to explain about our experience.
Yeah, once you're registered, 24 hours later, you'll have access then to come on in, and you'll basically just access these documents.
But
These are the questions, right?
Yes.
These are the questions, right?
Yes.
5 questions.
Yeah.
These are the basic questions. Everyone will have the same questions,
Yes.
but we have to answer in your way, right?
It's all about you. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's not the firm. It's not we, the team. It's
You
all.
individually.
Yeah, and that's something I think we find quite hard to do, to talk about ourselves, and that's where some people can fail. It's not this was the solution. It's how you got there, what you did. That's I can't express that enough. So.
What is the passing criteria and the percentages? I mean, the passing percentage and passing criteria.
There's 100 marks available, which is nice and easy. 55% is the pass criteria. I think that's fine. It's in a couple of slides, so I'll give you a bit more information on that as well. So as mentioned, there's always 2 submissions every year. Our next submission date is the end of January, but the submissions open on the 20th of December. So again, we think to get our interest expressed then, and then you can submit then. You can submit your answers any time from the 20th of December to the end of January. So as soon as you're ready, why not? That letter of good standing though is a part of the puzzle, so that that must come in with the submission.
But we can register now.
Yes. Yeah.
And we start submitting from 20th December.
Yes.
We'll keep everything ready offline.
Yes. Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
scan, upload it.
Indeed.
So
Indeed.
if my sponsor is not a member of ICAEW, what I need is basically the letter of good standing from the
They-
sponsor.
They need that as well from their body. Yeah. Absolutely. Okay.
Sorry, one second. 5 years of experience doesn't have to be under an ICAEW program, right?
No, it's just 5 years of work experience. Yeah.
And this 5 years will include from current year.
Pardon?
It will include current year as well, or the last 5 years.
No, it's just, it will be the 5 years. So if we submitted our submission on the 20th of December, it will be 5 years from the 20th of December 2018 to 5 years then, consecutively going back from that date. Okay. Sorry, late or incomplete applications. The Institute can be a little bit strict, very strict in fact. So please don't miss those dates, otherwise we'll have to wait until August. Follow the template required, which we've got, and we'll have a little chat about as well this evening. Everything just gets submitted in Word, so everything you upload in Word, please, no PDFs, because the second it's gone onto the system, that will convert it into PDF. we making access to the resources, again, the info that you've got here, that I won't go through in detail because there's 13 pages of it, but honestly, the examiner's guidance here, so if you cross-reference everything whilst you're going through, if you've got this by your side, we do see the pass rates are much higher with this, so to just follow that, then that is, it's really good advice.
And the letter of good standing will be PDF, will not be Word document.
Oh, there'll be PDF. Well, that's a point. Now, how do we do that then? Because I was told everything has to be in Word. Can I take that away and just check? That must be fine, mustn't it?
Because it will come from the Institute of
Yeah.
Pakistan.
Yeah, otherwise anyone could
PDF.
write it, couldn't they?
The second question is that, so we write our experience and then upload it. At what stage our sponsor reviews it? Does he have to say that he has reviewed it? Or is it-
Yeah. So you will show them that before you submission. They will then sign a form to say they've reviewed it. That gets uploaded at the same time, so they'll look before you.
Those forms will be PDF forms, his signed form and our.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that must be fine. I'll just double check. Sorry, I was speaking to somebody yesterday and she just said to me everything has to be Word, and I didn't think of that. So I'll double check and I'll make sure I'll feedback on that. Okay. So the examination of experience, and this starts in 2 parts. So 5 questions, as we've said, we are only reflecting on the last 5 years of our experience, and it's all about your professional skills and expertise. We'll come on to that. Everything that's sort of highlighted in bold here is really what we're trying to get you to demonstrate. And the second part is a summary of your employment. If we look quickly at page 11 of the guidance, so the preparing your examination of experience, so this is the guidance for the examiners. Page 11 talks a little bit there, I think, just to get you familiar with the document as well, about part 2, the summary of employment. So that's also at the back of your template document, and as you can see there, so the dates that we're literally just breaking everything down over 5 years. And in the template, I've got some sample scripts here that you can look at. They're also online, and you'll see when you submit your summary of experience, years 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, you'll tie that back to your example as well. So with our 5 questions, you'll tie that back to the 5 years of experience. So we'll just tally everything up. Okay?
The last 5 years.
Yes.
Very likely in the last 5 years, one would be in the similar role.
That's fine. The examiners are looking to really see your higher professional skills.
They
Demonstrated.
or may not be financial growth.
Again, we'll go through the questions, and then it's about identifying issues, it's about resolving problems, it's about prioritising situations, looking at ethical. So it's not, it doesn't have to be too specifically around financials.
Some of us have grown out of
Different ones.
finance.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. But we'll take a little look at the questions. I'm sure they should be able to satisfy most criteria. Okay. So the general approach to answering the examination of experience, very, very strict on the word count. Please no less than 3,000, because they won't entertain it, and they won't entertain any more than 6,000 words either. So that's roughly 500 words a question. In the templates that are on your seats, again, this is all online, but as you'll see, there's one heading on one page, and you literally just pop your answer in there. Realistically, 500 words is about 3/4 of a page, so it's about that. So that's is a rough guide. Questions 1 to 4 have 2 parts, so they're worth 20 marks. Question 5 is worth 10 marks, and there are 5 marks awarded for good format and good language, and 5 marks awarded for the use of recent experience, which you will be doing because we're talking about the last 5 years. Again, that's all fully covered in the guidance notes as well, in much more detail than I can give you. So our pass rate is 55. If our score is between 55 and 60, we can only fail 1 question. We can't fail 2, but achieve between 55 and 59. If we get above 60, it doesn't matter if we fail more than 2 questions. It's just the criteria there. And again, the semi, it's all about you, it's all about you, not about the film.
You said question 5 is for 10 marks, and then
Yes, then 20 marks,
for question 1 to 4.
yes.
And then what are the other 10? 5 and 5?
5 for,
10 for
5 awarded for good format and language, and 5 for reflecting on recent experience. Yeah. Again, everything, it's covered in a bit more detail in the guidance notes as well. So this is where perhaps over to you, James, a little bit. So if we refer to our guidance notes and question 1, so this is asking you, the first question, to describe a situation where you identified an issue. So it's the identification of that issue, not what the issue was, not what you did about the issues, and this is where a lot of people fail this question, because we tend to talk about how we resolved it, and it's not about that. How did you identify it? How did you identify that a client had a cash flow problem, or whatever it might be? So I think question 1, it's on page 3. So if you just want to take a quick look, and if you've got any thoughts or observations, it's been a bit of a workshop here. Any questions that you can, want covering or asking? Again, as you'll see though, just to give you a bit of a flavour, you'll see the question, so there's 2 parts to it. So identifying an issue, we've got example scenarios within that. As we flip over the page onto question 4, you will see where the examiners will highly reward the information you put in. Yes, just over the page there. Will highly reward the information that you put in, and things to avoid. So generic models, recommendations and advice. It's nothing to do with that. It's literally, key is to read the question and discuss or reiterate how you identified the issue there. As I said, there's no marks at all for the solution, no marks whatsoever for solution. So just the key is, if we can, read that question and pop down what it is that we're asking there. So it's all about the how. Okay. If you've got any questions, then please do let me know. So again, just a quick look at the questions. So question 2, sorry, I think maybe, if you see when you get to the end of a question as well, there's always a summary. So for example, at the end of question 1, evidence your personal involvement. You've chosen a professional issue, but the issue is at an appropriate level. Issue you have used is well described, and you've described how you identified the issue. So again, this guidance here can really help. It will always give you a summary at the end of the question, just to recap that you've covered those things, and perhaps haven't lost those valuable words in that word count on telling us things that we haven't asked you for. Okay. Question 2, so that's page 5 of the guidance as well. So this is asking you to describe a situation where you've analysed an issue. Again, so it's the analysis that we're after here, how you analysed it, not what it was, but it's all about how. So we don't, again, need regurgitation of regulations or anything like that. It's how you analysed it. And 2.1, this is worth 10 marks here. And we're asking here again about technical expertise or business knowledge. So it might be expertise in tax or business knowledge in say your line of work there with recruitment. As long as you can demonstrate your expertise in that area and how you went about analysing an issue, that's the key. It's not necessarily, it's not what at all, it's how. Okay, so guidance in our guidance book there. 2.2 then, so this question is asking how to demonstrate analysis using numerical techniques. Again, we're trying not to use the same example to answer more than one question, so we can get a new example per question. That's really good. So it might be something here like forecasting. Why did you choose that technique? How did you use it? How did it help you perform the analysis? Again, we'll always give you guidance on how to go about that in the document here. And where are we? Page 6 just talks about that. So again, we've got examples in there, highly rewarded marks, things to avoid. So do you think so far, has anybody thought there might be any questions here that you couldn't perhaps roll into your experience, or, no, that's good. And again, we've always got the checklist as well, so again, we would recommend when it comes to you completing your examination of experience to have
2.2 is specific to finance.
your financial,
Investments and, this kind of thing,
but it could be, again, for,
yeah, I guess there has to be some sort of occasion at which you do these things.
yeah, I think so, yeah. So again, take a little bit of thought, this is why, yeah, I would prepare, give it some thought before you just thinking you sit down and complete it.
In your business, you could have come across a situation of buy or lease office and you do a numerical thing.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't match our job designation, for example, I am auditor, but I have prepared financial analysis or feasibility study. Okay, it doesn't match my designation. Then that happen?
Did that happen in the last 5 years?
Yes.
Fine. Yeah. We'll just map that, section 2 of our examination of experience, which talks about our employment, whichever year, that was year 3 of year 5, say, and you can you literally map it across in the template, actually, let me show you this paper, but last page 11 of your template, if you want to take a look. Summary of employment part 2, page 11. This is where we'll break our years down, so year 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and so if our financial analysis, that fits in year 3, we'll put question 2.2 in there. So we're just mapping experience against what we said we've done.
Actually, my question is if my designation, for example, I am auditor,
Yeah.
I'm writing it as my designation, and then I'm saying that I have prepared a financial feasibility. Doesn't it contradict each other?
No, it's not about your current title. We're looking at the last 5 years of work
But I
experience.
think, it has some implication. For example, auditors don't do these things at all. So for example, like my manager in our office, he has been here for like 12 years. He never did any other assignment. And he's a ACCA member, so he won't be able to qualify for this question. Or people in tax consultancy, for example, they don't do these things.
We still
So-
we still have the applications in.
What we need to say here is that, for example, if my job description is as such, like if I'm an auditor, but I've done anything basically on behalf of my client, which is basically not coming in my description. So if someone will go on last page and he will try to match it with my job description, so it won't be there. But in this sense, I have done it, so he will be unable to cross-refer it.
There's no reference anywhere to
No,
your
but
job.
I think then he can describe the whole scenario as I was auditor, but then I was supposed to some, for some function, so that's not an issue, but the issue is, if I'm auditor and I got no chance, right, to do this forecast or discounted cash flow investment, because they all relate to an investment kind of thing, so that becomes a problem.
I haven't heard of it being a
Because
problem at all.
auditors, okay, might get a chance to check these things, but not do themselves.
Well, again, I can't go into a lot of
Yeah,
detail
yeah.
here. It would be the Pathways team. I would say if anyone's got any concerns about that, the job description doesn't matter. We're not asking about a job description. We're not asking about what you currently do. We're asking where you're a current member of. If you're a member of good standing and 5 years work experience, I would say if you've got any concerns around anything like that, speak to the Pathways team. But like I said, we have many members coming through in all kinds of varying jobs. And I haven't heard that these questions don't fit.
Auditors might be doing budget variance analysis, the cost comparison, cost benefit analysis, the project return analysis.
Yeah, now I realize because that
These are just examples.
that unit is not limited to these things, so yes.
Yeah, so yeah. please. What about the experience? The examiners will be, you know, they're measuring the breadth and depth of the experience. It's not the specific examples, it's just.
You are analyzing some divisions performance, you are doing some other analysis, so that might cover those things.
Okay. So this is good because I'm, yeah,
That's pretty much.
yeah, for you to be able to sort of that detail on it, so yeah, thank you. So again, we've got two parts to question 3, and this one is all about providing evidence where you've made professional judgments. So we're looking at really a couple of scenarios here, because we're having to choose between options. So again, this is about the how you applied that judgment, the how rather than the what. So again, our experience could be very varied. I'm sure, you know, we come across this all the time. I think the more experienced we are, we kind of take it for granted that we can solve these things. But again, it's about it's about how, it's about what, and it's just evidencing, you know, the really strong example and articulating that really well. Okay, so again, it's page 7 in here, and we'll always again give you example situations, highly rewarded marks, things to avoid. And we've got our checklist there, so yeah, if there's any thoughts or feedback on the example situations, or
If some of us are also honorary members on the board for certain not-for-profit organization, can we refer those experiences in the last 5 years if they are mentioned here?
yeah,
You know, for example, especially on the ethical and all those kind of stuff.
sure.
If you come across one of those things,
As long as it's in a professional capacity, then yeah.
but the honorary board member, honorary director, honorary secretary of the board,
Yeah, and there's, yeah, but providing your sponsor could read through that and say that I know that that's, you know, fit and true. Sure. Right, so there we are, question 3.1. So 3.2, we are looking here, again, so providing an example of a situation in which you prioritised issues. So, again, it's the how, not the outcome. Ideally, this would be something like to list a set of issues that all need addressing and all have separate time constraints. So it's you just making professional judgments again on decisions on which to prioritise. Deadlines won't bode well here at all, because that tells you when they have to be completed. So again, it's just showing you the professional judgments you made and why on prioritising the issues. Let's see, we are page 8. So where we have in our examiner guidance, so we've got a couple of example situations there. So tasks required to be completed in a disposal, refinancing of a business. Yeah, and so again, the highly rewarded, which is what we've said, of several things that need to be done. You know, maybe the issues that we faced as well, where you couldn't get everything done in the same time. So that's that kind of thing that we can detail an example with there. That would be a very strong case. So question 4, 20 marks here, because we're asking you, and I think in the template it's 4.1, 4.2, because we're asking you to, let me just double check. Yeah. So we're asking you to evidence where you provided advice. So 1 is utilising your technical knowledge and or practical experience to develop that advice. So candidates fail here when they don't tell us about the advice they gave. So we do want you to describe the advice given, and again, how and why you got there. So it's about detailing all of that. We're page 9. So highly rewarded is the advice that's given. So as I said, do mention the advice. I mean, people have fallen down here historically where they've sort of gone about coming to that conclusion but not explained what the advice was. So do let us know about that. It could be as well providing advice, you know, internally or to a client as well. So I'll give you an example you can see that could fit all there.
This question, they mentioned things to avoid textbook or theoretical advice.
Pardon?
They in this question, 4.1, in the things to avoid, they have mentioned textbook on theoretical advice.
Yes.
Now the issue is that if I am in consultancy and I am providing advice to my client,
Yeah.
and basically it is as per like IFRS, then basically these are two options available, and I can suggest any one option on the basis of certain grounds. But someone can place a counter argument that basically it's a textbook or theoretical advice. So how can I avoid that comment?
Well, no, but you would just be telling us about the advice that you gave them and how you got there, you know, based on what the situation was. It's all again about how you got to that, how you reached that advice. So whether you know, are you saying whether the advice was taken or not?
No, basically what.
The advice is in line with IFRS recommendation.
It's like written in the book, so it is not that I have
Basically, I
to
think so
apply
we
like
need to describe the scenario and you have linked your advice to the scenario, like this was the scenario. Based on those facts, this was advice given, that's it.
You
That's how
mentioned
we have, you
your
analyze
research
it,
and
your
your
first process,
Yeah.
and what is the solution. The
You
final
mentioned
outcome.
like it was given to, you know, let's say as a part of a consultancy, so it was this practical, basically that's not a theoretical advice. In your opinion, even your advice is practical advice given to someone to implement it. Implementation is the second part, basically whether they implement it or not.
Yeah.
That's fair, purely my understanding.
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
It's purely my understanding.
Anyhow, your advice cannot be beyond that.
Yeah.
So that is.
No, there's tax planning advice doesn't come from my advice.
No, I'm just saying,
This was
accounting advice.
just an example.
Yeah. Now basically.
Acquisition advice doesn't come from my advice.
Yes. No, he talked about the accounting thing, obviously, acquisition, you say, just go ahead or don't move, that's the advice.
And our last question then, that's worth 10 marks, is
No, I have got one question.
Okay.
Basically, how to differentiate between low level advice or basic advice and, you know, advanced level of advice? So
Well-
where I would like, this is 20 mark question, which seems to be a very important part of this. Like, how to differentiate, like?
well, it's sort of where you are at the high end of your experience, so you know we couldn't be sort of perhaps you know referring back. That's why we reflect on the last 5 years, not
No,
necessarily
actually,
going back.
the things to avoid over here in the guidance is, the advice should not be low level, but basic advice. Like, what are the criteria, you know, is like, what a basic advice or is an advanced level advice?
Well,
How do you?
I haven't got the measurements on it actually. Again, I'm right into the pathways team, but it's obviously it's not going to be just basic advice that perhaps you can just you know answer over an email or a telephone call. It's going to be a bit more complex and a bit more strategic, you know, based on you know
Which of course
the
would
levels
require
of
some
advice.
research, some discussions, some
That's
meeting.
it. That's it. It wouldn't just be
The challenge would be
pretty
to cover all of
average.
these things in 500 words or something.
Yeah,
3/4 of a page, you cover
scenario.
two parts of the question. 4.1 and 4.2, right?
They've got a page each.
A page each.
Yeah, if we look at the template, again, not so forget all the paper, but yeah, this is what you've got online. If you look, there's one page. They've already headed it for you. They all say one fresh page per question, so that your parts are almost if you like
You really make concise for what you say, basically.
well, that's part of the assessment as well. We assess that in the case study. It's our case study examiners that are looking at this. So it's about proving, which you do every day. You're experts at this. That you can communicate succinctly, professionally. We aren't repeating ourselves. That's another skill that is getting assessed. So it's a case of
These days it's becoming even more, you know, for students also. Exam they
yeah,
want some good quality,
exactly
writing
that.
and summarize.
Exactly that. So therein is another skill thinking. We've got to get summarise that. And, so something to look forward to. And then, so 10 marks for question 5. And this is how you dealt with an ethical issue. So again, this should be within a professional context, a real life example. Things to consider there are what fundamental ethical principle was at risk: objectivity, confidentiality, integrity. And again, it's all about how you dealt with that issue. How did you deal with it? How was it concluded? What actions did you take? What was the rationale? behind your conclusion. So again, I'm sure we deal with much more of this than we just so
That's the easiest, easiest
part.
part.
Yes. Yeah, and I can't advise strongly enough about referring back to the document as well. So I think when you're in the right zone, we've got time and quiet and are applying all of this to give it some deep thought, and then there's the checklist at the end to make sure that these things are covered. That I'm sure you will do very well. Any questions on the questions?
So, my only one question basically, all different three questions, is it compulsory that you, or does it have any conflict? It all lies in the 1 year. That's in year 3, you might come a technical issue, you might enter into an ethical issue and other experience. So, or it needs to be spread over the period of 5 years. Is there any criteria for that?
No, other than if you can get an example of one question within each of the 5 years, so one per year. If you could cover, so these are my 5-year experience, we could get our ethical issue in one of those years.
But all can be in 1 year?
No.
No,
No,
it needs to
yeah,
be, okay.
yeah,
It
yeah.
needs to be spread over your
Yes.
experience.
Yeah.
But there are quite specific ones for the recent examples.
That's the 5 years. That's why we don't go back.
Okay.
It's 5 years, and yeah, you have to be invited, into
So
full.
recent means
That's
5
also
years.
covered in the checklist for use of experience, right? Where
Yes.
you refer your experience to each question.
And that's why we, again, 5 years, not anything, yeah, before. Okay. So there we are, 5 questions.
Well, I think one recommendation for those who are going for this, just to understand what exactly, low level or high level are done, they should just go and see professional level exams, just for understanding, for the depth and,
Yeah. Quite
so that will
possibly.
be very useful to understand the language, the terminology to be used and, this.
Sorry, pardon, please, I just missed it, sorry, you was giving some
Yes.
explanation. I'm so sorry.
I was recommending that, for example, you are going for this pathway thing, so you should go and see the professional level exams, question and answer, to understand what basically, at what depth they're basically, asking for certain things. Because the questions are scenario based, so you will see and then you can see the answer for that. So that will help you
From
to
where we
basically
can, from where we can go to the
from
material?
past exams.
Or you just reminded me, thank you so much for that.
Okay,
And
okay.
actually on the Pathways website, and I've got a few copies here, we've got sample scripts. So these are sample answers. So again, please, if you want to pass them around while we're all here, everything's on the website. I'm so glad you said that. Thank you. I brought them along, but I'll just. So you'll see again in the sample script at the end summary of experience. So where that person has talked about their work experience and where they've tallied that back to the answer within their question. So there are sample scripts, so that might give you. There's 2 online on the website.
Yeah,
You have it?
And she passed, right?
Yeah, flying
A very relevant question, basically, yeah. Just
Oh,
to
no,
welcome
please,
people,
if you want to get to pass around.
This is good and good.
Actually, I have a question.
It's key.
Basically, like, for this question 5, if there is some ethical issue of which basically I had been a part of auditing, but let's suppose I was the senior, I was reporting to a manager and there was a partner. And if I'm just in a weird scenario, just assume that basically both of those 2 persons are also applying for pathways and they are also holding the same issue. Obviously, the nature and description of the course would be same, but you can say that action would be different. For example, at my level, it would be different action and responsibility at manager level and at partner level. So, I'm just basically imagining that the plagiarism issue, how are you going to basically escaping it? Because
We wouldn't ask for you to divulge any client names or anything like that. Again, it's all about you. it's about you, what you did. So I doubt they'd even get matched. I doubt they would even.
Examiners might be different.
Yeah.
The facts will be same, but obviously we can say that mode of communication.
But again, you're talking about the what. It's not about the what, it's about the how. It's about what you do with the facts. We don't want them. That happened. It's what you do with it, how you got there. This is where people can fail. And it's easily done. We don't need the really, what it was, it's the how. So yeah, we probably could link it up if you answered it wrong, all of you. But yeah, if you see what I'm saying, it's we don't really need that detail, and those words, don't lose your valuable word count on that. So it's easily done. It is easily done, and I think that's where people can fail on it. So it's all about the how, all about you. You're not necessarily the what. Yeah. Sorry, our gentleman that might not know what we're sort of talking about. Sorry that we've missed you at the start, but just to let you know what we're referring to here. And if you do decide that you'd like to come through to the pathways, it's 5 questions, examination of experience that you'll answer in your own time. These are the questions. You'll fill in a template. A submission is that maybe template upside down. Yeah, that's the template, and these are examiner guidances. So what I can you've got the template in your hand. Beg your pardon. So you want that one and that one. Okay, and so for you, so these are our questions. This is the template that you'll populate. You'll fill in online. Okay, this is all done in your own time, and that's the examiner guidance note, so we would say cross-reference that when you're completing it, because this is like the Bible, this is what we've been referring to. So please do take a look. Yeah. Okay, so that's the nuts and bolts on how to go about answering that, say in your own time. And perhaps before that deadline date, but again, I can't express enough really getting a letter of good standing in time.
This is not something new, right?
It was around, I've worked for ICAEW for over 4 years. It was around and it wasn't, about 4 years ago, then it stopped. And then they opened it up again in March. So it's been open 18 months then? Open again in 18 months, yeah, it opened up last year in March. So there's 2 submissions.
In between the stopped, right?
It stopped, yeah. I think it was members that sort of said, I'm not sure we like this, but yeah, it's gone back out again, it's open again. We've got no intention to close it, as far as we know at the moment, so we've got the 2 dates again next year. Results dates there after all your hard work, so we'll know the 5th of April if we get our submission in January, and the 24th of October if we go for the August entry as well. If you're successful, you'll be invited into membership. Upon paying naturally membership fees and all of that going through, you can then use the ACA designation. Admission fees for next year, and that would obviously this year's something that applied to us. The admission fee is £300 into membership, and annual sub fee £375. Again, all the information is on icaew.com/pathways. Just said that. There's our Pathways website. FAQs available.
Any statistics on the how many people have
Not off the top
registered, how many people have got the
No, not off the top of my head, no. It's pretty very, very popular. I know that much, but I don't know, I'm afraid. But that's why, again, but what we do know is...
It is popular, but if, people, get this, membership or no, that's...
They certainly are doing. We've got that for attempt rule, because we have the 4 attempt rule in the ACA exams at the certificate of professional level. If you weren't successful, you can apply again, and you would only need to resubmit a question you failed on. So that again isn't quite so bad, but hopefully.
And that's the case if your marks are between 50 to 60.
55 to 59.
55 to 59. But if
And is it
you
over
score
60?
So
Yeah.
even if you're failing one, that doesn't make it.
But if you get 55 and you pass, but you can only fail in one question, that's it, yeah.
Okay, one question regarding the IFAC membership of your sponsor.
Sponsor.
That's because my usually sponsor could be an individual,
Yes.
it could be an organization also. But
No,
then
it's an
how-
individual.
Okay, so then how an individual can be member of the IFAC?
No, the membership
Any of the
bodies.
IFAC body, right,
Bodies,
like
yes.
ICAEW or ACCA, ICAP or
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So my sponsor can be member of any of the IFAC
Yeah.
member bodies.
Yes.
Actually, this experience table, it's in the 12-month section, but if, for example, if I change various jobs and it's like 8 months, 6 months, so then in that case, what would be the course of action? Shall I only mention those jobs which have been, if I have been in a position for.
It's your last 5 years. So we submit our application, on the 1st of January, the last 5 years to that, whether you've changed, as long as you were a member in that time, that's what we're referring to. So if you've changed jobs mid-year, pop it in there.
So in that box, I need to basically then, in the form of bullets, explain that in this particular.
There's, that's absolutely fine. It's just 5 years of membership that we're looking at, regardless of where, with whom, job title.
Okay.
Okay. So, yeah, if you are interested in doing so, you know the dates there. Apply 24 hours beforehand, so that then you can go through into the website and submit things through. I've got the dates there. And if you do have any more questions, the pathways team, they're so easy to remember, so /pathways or pathways at ICAEW.com. Team of absolute experts there. So locally, very, very happy to help, if we can as well. But I think if things you're a bit perhaps concerned about any slightly more technical issues, I'd just go straight to these guys, because that's all I will do anyway, just because they're a little bit more expert on this than I am. But
Usually, what is their turnaround time?
pardon?
What is their turnaround time? The pathways team.
I think they're quite fast. I haven't heard to the contrary, fortunately. Any more questions? Or?
Thanks.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thanks very much. Thank you. How long have you been a member of Braces? Yeah.
That's the idea, so I'm planning for next year.
Yeah, next year. Yes.
Would there be in the top of the registered as a student of ICAEW?
What you need to do, I don't know if you're
Just put you maintain your membership with ICAEW. That I already have.
Yeah.
The critical thing is that
You just need to, if it comes to registering your interest, you do it here. You've already got an ID number that registers your interest. So, yeah, as long as you are 5 years membership at the date you submit. So if we're looking next year, it's going to be January next year or August next year. As long as you're 5 years by one of those submission dates, just use your number. We'll then see who you've got. Come through into membership that way, your training file will get pushed to one side, or will be a distant memory. So yeah, you can. If you want to hang on,
being a student won't be an issue.
No.
Because I already have a training file.
you do indeed. No issue at all. We just need to know who you are, so we don't have duplicate records. We can tie it all together. Yeah. No. When will you be 5 years in with ACCA?
Not in this two, maybe next
And you would still have the 3 advanced level ACA exams to do, would you? I can see why. Yeah.
Actually, I registered because I was told because we were planning to close this school. I think a couple of years before, there was another body coming to CSC.
Yeah, no, but we have heard the contrary, so we've got next year's date, so.
I think she didn't confirm that, but yeah, but That's the reason that they are planning to stop this route, so that was the reason.
We certainly haven't had a thing. Again, no, it's not on the cards at all. You still get your training fine anyway, so you know.
It's still an easier route, you avoid so much of hassle of being sitting in exam.
They're very stressful, aren't they, in that exam environment? This is still assessing their skills with the assessor case, but not in that environment.
Is the requirement for sponsors having a certain years of experience, or it would be a simple
Thanks
number
a lot,
of that body?
Thank you very much, thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, nice to meet you all, thank you. I don't think there is, I don't think there is. If you want to take any more copies, please, just check in there, thank you.
President, for the sponsor, the requirement for the experience for the sponsor,
No.
or it should only be member of the board?
No, just a member, yeah, no years.
Thank you very much.
Lovely.
Oh,
Oh, great, thank you.
It's good time now, we have got at least 3 months time to prepare, right?
This is it, give us some thoughts, and if we, even if you want to register, and then maybe not, you've registered your interest, you can do it in January, great, or another one, you've got time to read, and it takes a bit of prep.
Even if I spend 3 months in meetings,
Oh, good luck, thank you. I'm sorry, I know you missed a bit, sure.
अभी तो बताया ना 1000 ये कर सकते हैं 1000 ये कर सकते हैं तो ये
Okay.
आपको वही करना है, sponsor कर सकते हैं।
there's no limitation in the system
सिस्टम में कोई लिमिटेशन नहीं है तो कोई मसला नहीं है
बना के लेंगे, एक काम करें ना, बना के लेंगे।
no you just need to change scenarios
Which application do you got to apply to?
Because it's been sponsored by something like
Membership is less than 5, isn't it?
Post qualification must be, you know, 5
Got to be 5, so if you are 5 years in January,
5 years.
Not of PCC.
August when?
And for it's very easy to get another sponsor. I don't know how I can.
चलिए सर एक रिक्वेस्ट करें
Can we have a group photo?
It's the 1st of August. Oh, 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
लाइफ
We've got to have 5 years of grace.
चल रहा
Oh, that's a shame, it's close, but one after that, yeah.
है I want to stop student